Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope everyone out there is doing absolutely fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook. There's a link in the description below. Don't forget to like the video as well. It does help out the algorithm. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. As always, a slew, if you will, of good news. Some of it a little bit confusing, but I think that's maybe just the way that the cryptocurrency market is kind of always meant to be. This news popped up, but then some other news popped up. And I feel like we went over this, but we didn't because it sounds like something else that also hasn't happened yet, but it sounds similar. You'll maybe potentially you'll see what's going on. Morgan Stanley, the gigantic banking consortium institution money place, is reportedly preparing to launch cryptocurrency trading for individual users via their E-Trade platform, signaling a major shift in how traditional financial giants interact with digital assets. It's not really that. It's more so years ago. I don't know if this was them lying or if they've known all along. I really don't know. A number of years ago, all these institutions were asked at different points in the cryptocurrency space if they planned on trying to launch Bitcoin ETFs. Were they going to have cryptocurrency trading? Were they going to launch some kind of a subsidiary or an arm of the company for crypto? And they all said no. That's why I said I don't know if they were simply lying or if they really just didn't like us. Because now all of them are coming out talking about how great crypto is, how much money there is to be made, how crypto is going to be around forever. It's a great investment. And what was that one company? I don't remember. Oh, I'm not going to get it. There was one company a year and a half ago after BlackRock and Fidelity launched the Bitcoin ETFs. I forgot the name of the company. People were asking them, did they plan on launching something crypto Bitcoin-esque, and they were like, no, Bitcoin's scary, we don't really like it, it's whatever. And then we keep hearing week after week, another corporation, another company is shimmying their way into the cryptocurrency market, and this time it is Morgan Stanley. According to a report by Bloomberg, the initiative is still in the early planning stages and could go live as soon as next year. We're going to get back to that because that's the part that sounds familiar when it's actually something else. The move would mark one of the most aggressive forays into retail crypto trading by a top U.S. bank and potentially put Morgan Stanley in direct competition with crypto exchanges such as Coinbase and Kraken. That's also the really weird part as to why it took them so long. If banks had gotten onto it at 2012, 13, 14, 15, we'd probably not even have a Binance or a Kraken or a Gemini or a Coinbase. They waited 16 years for prices to go really high. Now they have to buy in at a higher price. And it's like, okay, you guys could have had control over the market, but I guess not. Morgan Stanley is said to be considering partnerships with existing crypto firms to create the infrastructure needed for spot crypto trading. Currently, the bank primarily offers crypto-related ETFs, options, and futures to high net worth individuals. But their new initiative would open access to everyday investors. This sounds similar because it's also very similar to this one. The news that we got from Charles Schwab. This was, I believe, a couple of days ago. So I was looking around and I was like, why does this sound so... I don't remember saying the words Morgan Stanley. And then I said Charles Schwab, and I was like, yeah, I remember having to like pronounce that last name because the C and the sh, like it, yeah, it's like a very memorable, like it's missing some vowels there. So that's what kind of got me. Schwab. One of the world's leading asset managers with, geez Louise, $7 trillion. Is that a real number? $7 trillion in assets under management is also preparing to launch spot cryptocurrency trading within the next 12 months. So for some reason, both of these institutions, back to back, Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, have announced that they're both getting deeper into the cryptocurrency space, and they will be doing so within the next 12 months or so. As you might have imagined, this was gigantic news. It was all over the place. Everyone was talking about it. It makes a lot of sense because they're rich and they have a lot of money. And the idea is that if you have $7 trillion in assets under management, well, the people who you are holding that wealth for, they're also interested in crypto. So they'll be throwing a lot of money at the market as well. Also increasing liquidity by several $1 billion as they're just sloshing money back and forth. Yeah, it's interesting to see now, as I keep saying over and over. For years, we were like desperate for news like this. There were no companies, no institutions. We had overstock. That's all we had. They were selling socks for Bitcoin. And we were like, okay, one day we'll get there. The disappointing part is all the people in crypto who don't pay attention to this news, who don't understand the actual dynamics behind it, and also the people outside of crypto who would benefit greatly from Bitcoin going from 100K to $7 million. But they won't get into the market until Bitcoin's over $1 million. And at that point, they'll only be accumulating, fragments of fragments of fragments. So, cool. That's the more rich people getting into the cryptocurrency space news. I'm surprised. I never expected that more money would be flowing into our markets. And yeah, let's move on. This also sounds familiar, but it's also the other side that we've been hearing about. We heard recently that MasterCard is kind of going all in to the cryptocurrency and stablecoin space. There are still a lot of countries who are going to be launching their CBDC stablecoin over the course of this year. We're seeing a rapid, as I went over in another video, we're seeing a rapid increase in countries or in populations around the world who are choosing to actually use stablecoins as a form of payment for everyday commerce, namely because their local currencies are really, 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 really bad. So instead of having to deal with 30, 40, 50, 60% inflation year on year, a lot of countries within Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia in the last 3 years have really ramped up their usage of stablecoins. The news that we got recently was that MasterCard announced an initiative with Ripple, OKX, other company names that all sound silly, and all these other kinds of things, that they're going to be launching a dedicated card to allow these people within those countries to also be able to use stablecoins, accumulate stablecoins, and also, spend them with merchants. Visa will be launching a new product that will allow consumers in Latin America to make payments with stablecoins. This is really interesting because it completely strengthens and also diverts usage from the US dollar. So one of the things that really held the US dollar up since 1945 has been the actual usage of the US dollar. The idea of stable coins kind of taking over usually reflects that there is a company who is holding the actual US dollar, or holding US Treasury bills. And from there, they are then legally able to actually make the stablecoin, but there's no actual usage of or touching of the US dollar. That's the really weird kind of like significant part of all of this, that we're seeing like crypto adoption take off under the guise kind of strengthening the backdoor usage of the US dollar, but there's no actual US dollar usage, and it's just like stable coins being used. The product will be part of a pilot program launching in countries like Mexico and Argentina. Visa is widely known for its credit card products and ability to make fast transactions. Okay, sure. Visa will collaborate with crypto firm Bridge to connect the crypto credit card company with stablecoin wallets. The pilot project, if successful, will be scaled to other continents such as Europe, Africa, and Asia. We've had a lot of news many years ago, since Tether was released, that a lot of merchants and a lot of people apparently in Eastern Europe who do not have the euro actually choose a lot of times to also deal in Tether and other stable coins, as it is whatever. They choose to use it. The news that we were getting before is that if they're doing business between them and another country, usually something further east and or Russia, they didn't want to have to go to those those windows to like hold physical cash and hand it to someone, and then that person hands them back the local currency, and then they have to pay a fee. So if you're all using the stable coin, then bada bing, bada boom. That's when we first got news at the beginning of 2018 when Russia was talking about banning crypto altogether because they realized that people were basically circumventing the use of their currency, because it was simpler just to use crypto. Stablecoins have become very popular among institutional traders due to their benefits, including low volatility, fast transaction. Cool. Yeah, this keeps happening. We will continue to see the growth and extra growth of the cryptocurrency space over the course of multiple years, with all these companies literally falling over themselves for a chance to be able to make any kind of money within this market. That's the Visa, and recently MasterCard announced they're basically doing the exact same things, of course trying to take market share from one another. And yeah, let's move on. Also this is not surprising at all, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, has postponed their decision on the Franklin Templeton proposed spot XRP ETF, citing the need for additional time to evaluate the application. This extension pushes the new decision date to the 17th of June from the original deadline of the 3rd of May. Yeah, so remember how we were going over around April that once again, April, May, and June are meant to be like the months where the cryptocurrency market begins to rev back up as we move ever closer into like our usual end of the year climax for the cryptocurrency market. Yeah, a lot of cryptocurrency ETFs are coming completely due over the course of May and June. A lot of them. So this will be a really big test, if you will, for us to be able to see how lenient this new SEC is, and if these coins actually end up getting the push that many of them actually deserve. If we hear from the SEC over the course of this month and the next that they're not allowing any ETFs to go through, or they're missing some kind of paperwork, a lot of coins will go womp, womp, womp. The expectation is that, for those of you who missed it, the new head of the SEC is apparently the most pro-cryptocurrency human you'll ever meet in your life, and many, if not nearly all, of these ETFs are expected to go through. We are currently waiting for 70 applications for cryptocurrency ETFs, many of them, once again, coming due in May and June. So, like I said, this is unsurprising. They've pushed all of them back as far as saying that they need extra time. I'm trying not to tinfoil hat here, but it always feels a little bit too well organized that they always just need more time, and then usually we always like end up at a certain spot in crypto history where we get a whole bunch of yeses for everything. Prices go up at the exact same time, and I sit there and go, well, yeah, they were basically waiting for this to happen. The filing submitted by the CBOE-BZX exchange on the 13th of March formally entered its initial 45-day review period on the 19th of March. The SEC delays follows a similar regulatory pattern seen across previous crypto ETF proposals. Yeah, the big answer is kind of the thing to pay attention to. I never really care for like we need more time, simply because they've been doing that since around 2014, 2015. For Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ETFs, they always push it down to the final deadline. But if these go through, get ready to have a great year. That's not a joke. That's not over-exaggerating, because that means that the other ones will also be going through as well. All 17 XRP ETFs will also fly on through. And then if we get one for Cardano and one for Dogecoin and one for this one, you understand. Yeah, that's the US SEC XRP ETF decision deadline for one of them is now the 17th of June. And yeah, let's move on. Also what? That's crazy. How could this possibly be happening? So I'm going to be nice here, but this is definitely different than the initial what this was supposed to be. MetaMask. MetaMask is the browser-friendly Ethereum wallet that's been around for a number of years. MetaMask is teaming up with none other than MasterCard and crypto payments company Banks, BAANX, to launch a metal payment card that will let users spend crypto directly from their wallets, they say, without giving up control. My friends, the initial idea of MetaMask was to have a decentralized wallet that no one controlled but you. You have control over your seed phrase, and no one can see what you're doing because it is on your computer, and obfuscation, blah, 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 unless you decided to make yourself known in some sort of way. That news went really south when we heard that MetaMask had partnered with PayPal, basically allowing you to send transactions back and forth and doing this with Ether and yada yada. And I was like, well, if you want control over your transactions and your data, you don't give your information to PayPal. That takes away the entire point of using a wallet like MetaMask, because you don't want the companies and institutions to have your information or your data. Because understand, when you send one transaction, they have all of your transaction history that you ever did, that you ever moved, anything. So now doing this with MasterCard, when they link up to your account, MasterCard is going to have every bit of information from every transaction that you've ever done on every website, every platform, every bit of money that went through that wallet. Excuse my French. It's just more of I'm definitely now considered to be like old school in my approach of crypto. The point of crypto is like bringing control back to yourself of your own money, and not simply rushing to PayPal and MasterCard and MicroStrategy when they become a bank. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Okay. In a end of April press release, payment card manufacturer CompoSecure announced that it is partnering with MetaMask, MasterCard, and Banks to launch the MetaMask metal payment card. A global rollout is planned for the second quarter of 2025. That's basically now. You guys got a couple of days left because by the time we get to June, okay. The new card will let users pay directly from their self-custody MetaMask wallet at millions of merchants worldwide. It says, unlike conventional crypto debit cards, there is no need to preload or convert assets beforehand. Users have total control up until the point of sale thanks to a smart contract that instantly validates and processes the transaction on-chain at checkout. So, cool. I know a lot of people don't care about their private sphere or their own information or the things that they do, but a lot of this is a gigantic red flag. Don't let me knock it by any means because, adoption, cool, awesome, money, and all that other stuff. But all these companies aren't getting into the space to make things easier for you. They want your data. Your data equals money to them as they sell this to other companies and institutions. So eventually you're going to start getting like things on Instagram and on TikTok, and you'll be like, why is that popping up? And it's because they also know what you purchased before and they've sold your information. That's literally how the current, I was going to say the future, but this is how the present works. So cool. MetaMask and Ethereum have completely changed their tune as to what they were many years ago and what the purpose of them were. But cool. Awesome. Keep up the corporatization. Let's move on. People were salivating at this news, and if you can still please explain to me what exactly the fascination is with this company, I would be eternally grateful because I really don't get it. Like personally, I don't get it. Metaplanet is expanding with a new wholly owned subsidiary in Florida to enhance their Bitcoin operations in the, and I quote, rapidly emerging Bitcoin hub. A lot of people frothing at the mouth at the idea of Metaplanet having an office, a location somewhere within the United States. Unless I'm completely incorrect, I'm certain that their CEO is also American. I'm pretty sure, unless maybe I'm confusing it with the 35 other companies we've been hearing about daily, but I'm pretty certain that like he was in America before and then moved to Japan, started Metaplanet, and then Metaplanet shifted their entire idea as a company exclusively into Bitcoin. I would assume that they're doing this to have closer proximity to US money and all the other people who are in the cryptocurrency space. And I'm pretty sure, doesn't Florida have 0% income tax? I'm pretty sure that Florida has no income tax. So I assume it has to do with, it's always, it's not always about money. The company's CEO, Simon Garovich, confirmed the move on Twitter, announcing a planned capital of up to $250 million to accelerate their Bitcoin treasury strategy. He said, and I quote, Metaplanet has resolved to establish a wholly owned subsidiary called Metaplanet Treasury Corporation, in Florida, USA, as part of its global expansion strategy. With planned capital of up to $250 million US, this move will accelerate its Bitcoin treasury strategy and serve as a crucial step in expanding access to liquidity for institutional investors in one of the world's leading capital markets, end quote. It's not that I don't find Metaplanet interesting so much as I don't find them interesting. These people sometimes will buy like 138 Bitcoin and it ends up being the most popular news story of the day. We recently had news that there's I think they're called the Blockchain Group. They're going to be mimicking exactly what MicroStrategy and also, to another extent, what Capital 21 are going to be doing. But for some reason, Metaplanet is kind of like, and I say this in a nice way, Metaplanet's kind of like the Shiba Inu Bonk Dogecoin. What's the other coin? Terra Luna Classic kind of thing, where it feels like an underdog, but they're not. They're like an extremely wealthy company who the heck is like, we have $250 million to accelerate buying more Bitcoin. But everyone seems to love them. They're constantly in the news, and I just don't really get it. I don't really understand. So cool. It's fascinating to hear that this is happening. I assume they're going to continue doing this for a while. They just passed by having 5,000 Bitcoin, for those of you who missed it. They're trying this year to get to 10,000 Bitcoin, which I wholly expect them to do. I have no questions in my mind anymore about it, especially with this time frame. And next year they want 21,000 Bitcoin. So they'll definitely get there. But they're also now like in the ring with a bunch of other like heavyweights within the cryptocurrency space. So cool. I guess this was exciting news. If I'm missing something, please tell me. Perhaps I'm not in the know. Maybe Florida gives out free money to people who hold crypto. I don't know what it is, but yeah, they were probably going to do this at some point. I don't really know. Well, everyone, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.